Hello and welcome to bonus one of Banish This Now. So I thought I'd add in two special bonuses into this report because, well, I just thought that one graphic novel wasn't enough. And basically, there are some concepts here that probably need to be discussed to really comprehend. So, as you read Banish This Now, you'll get glimpses of what your life could be like once you tackle one particular thing. I don't want to spoil it for you, but you'll get there. You'll get to the big reveal inside this graphic novel. Basically, I wanted to expand on a concept that I think I didn't have time to explore in Banish This Now. It's kind of a distraction to the big theme in the graphic novel, but it's still very important, just as an addendum, just as a kind of side note. So on page 6, I believe, yes, page 6, and then for a couple pages after, I sort of take you behind the scenes into my story, kind of this moment that made me wake up and realize that I was inept when it came to masculinity and the masculine virtues. Now, I never really thought about growing my masculinity. I never really thought about masculinity as a topic, really. I mean, I went to school, I was a musician, I was living a pretty happy, carefree life. I mean, it wasn't perfect. I had my issues, had some family issues. I struggled in school a little bit, but, nothing catastrophic. And so I just thought I was fine. I'd just work hard and, the lessons or wisdom, the general consensus that was being passed down to me from parents, teachers and friends was make sure you get good marks, make sure that you buckle down, get in that first job, make sure you get the promotion. And the way to do that was obviously study hard, get a university degree in some STEM field. And so that's what I thought until I think I was the first in my peer group to sort of have this awakening because of a tragedy. Now, I talk about it inside the graphic novel, but basically this tragedy was the sudden death of my father. My father was one of the closest people in my life. I'd call him one of my best friends even. But he had a sudden heart attack one day while I was finishing a shift at work. During this period, I was working, studying part-time to become a music teacher. I just thought, this is what I have to do to make money. I wasn't really enjoying it, but hey, this is life. I guess I could accept that. And then one day my dad just passes away. And I go through the story in the graphic novel about coming home, the ominous way the house felt when I walked in. Thank God that, it wasn't a traumatic death. Some people find loved ones in really bad situations and conditions, and that just leaves them having to go to therapy for years. But thank God that wasn't my situation. My dad died very peacefully. So I was able to not go through an additional trauma, but still it was a very big shock. And the lesson in that is, most men I know and most men I work with, this sort of thing happens, like this kind of arc. They're not thinking about masculinity, right? Just like I wasn't. They're kind of going through life, kind of on autopilot, just chugging along, doing things that don't really light them up or light a fire under their ass. They're pleasing them, their social circle and parents. This very socially approved life. And then what happens is kind of a catastrophe. A catastrophe happens in their life, either personal or situational. And that kind of wakes them up. And that makes them sort of take stock of what they really want. Because in my case, Um, I didn't really realize how incapable I was until my dad died, because a father is quite a big force in a child's life, and especially a son's life. Um, you don't realize how much you rely on him to make decisions, to take responsibility, to step in and lead in your life. Um, and when he goes away, there's a void of that. There's a void of that leader in your life and in the household. And whose job is it to go and fill that void? Well, I had to face that question, and there was only really one answer. That was my job. I was the son, I was the eldest, and that was my job. And I did not know how to do it one bit. Um, so I was kind of thrown in the deep end, and I went into the workplace, realized it's a fucking circus. Everyone is there out for themselves. No one really wants to help you. So I had to face the realities of being a man, especially the expectations that people have on you when you're a man. There are these secret expectations, and no one likes talking about them, but they're there, and they need to be brought into the light. So if you're a man, people around you expect you to be capable, to have the ability to go and figure something out, to be calm under pressure, to have the wherewithal about situations. And what I mean by that is, when you're in a situation that's precarious or dangerous, and you take active steps to either avoid that or to face it head on. Basically you're seen as the protector and the provider. Now, as liberal as society has become, that doesn't go away. That is the expectation of men. And what ends up happening is, if you don't fully and wholeheartedly adopt that expectation, now that's an ancestral, biologically adapted for expectation that didn't just come out of the blue. But if you don't accept that, you are looked on with disdain and contempt. And while people might smile at you and pat you on the butt and say, "Oh, it's okay, take your time, you'll figure it out one day," they secretly don't respect you. And something in you as a man knows that and feels that. And it kind of feels like there's something missing and you're not enough and you need to go work or figure out something. So basically, that void is what every man needs to face in his life, and he needs to overcome it. Like, in mythological terms, that responsibility and that expectation is kind of like, symbolically, that's like the dragon in myth. You have to go face that, and you have to overcome that and defeat that. In my case, it took me a long time. It took me 8 years to sort of find my feet around this. But I would say it's because I spent a lot of time listening to other people and getting confused until I woke up one day and said, I'm not listening to anyone anymore, and I will be the one to say yes or say no to this path ahead. And if I make a mistake, I'll wear it. But ultimately, it's my life, I got to live it, so I should be the one to decide. That was kind of the moment that set me free, but it might come sooner for you. So my hope for you is not to wait for a catastrophe to wake up and adopt the masculine role and virtues in your life. You don't need to do this for anyone. In fact, you can't do it for anyone. You have to do it for yourself first. You have to help yourself, make yourself capable first. And from your capability, you can be generous and protective of others. But you need to sort yourself out first. So that's basically the first thing, is you don't have to wait for a catastrophe. Like, wisdom can come from other people's situations and mistakes. So I wanted to give you my situation and some of my mistakes so you can avoid that. That will save you a couple years. Instead of taking 8 years like me, you'll cut it down just by taking that lesson. And the other thing is, focus on yourself and be ultimately dogmatic about what you want to achieve. It may not look like you can achieve the things you really want, You may think it's not for you. You might think that it's a pipe dream. That's fine. But you need to realize that there's something in you that wants to go and achieve more. You need to make that more, whatever that is, specific, put it down on paper. And I wouldn't tell anyone about that, because dreams and visions and ambitions need to be nurtured and protected in secret while you're working out the nuts and bolts. Okay? So those are the two things. Don't wait for a tragedy. Secondly, write down what you want, put it away in a cupboard, or write it on a secret document and leave it there, because you will be coming back to that piece of paper as you go forward. But anyway, I hope that was a helpful bonus, and Godspeed.